So we'll see if you can dig this logic, boys. I've got my current clamp there, monitoring the current from the fuel pump. And what? There's nothing on screen. Key point of interest here. Notice the trigger is set there on the falling edge. A wee bit unusual. And I've basically got it set so that if we have a falling edge that intersects this point here, here's the current, that's the zero line for the fuel pump. So if I have a falling edge intersecting there, it's going to capture an image. You can see it's on single shot on the trigger, okay? Sorry about the glare. So let me go and cycle the key in the car. Come with me here. See if I can. Okay, I gotta cycle the key. I know the glare is horrendous there. Key's on. And there's the image captured. I've got some cabling there. I can't go the other way, guys. Too lazy to set you up on a tripod. Okay. So there is the fuel pump current. And that image captured right when it cut out. So see if you can dig the logic here. If your car stalls, most modern cars, if the ECM doesn't see crank rotation, cam rotation, some machination of the two perhaps, is going to cut the fuel pump out. True statement? So if that's a fact, the fuel pump will cut out when the engine stops running. You could use this as a trigger point in order to capture all the data that led up to this point here, right? The Handtech 1008C has virtually no memory. It has basically only what you see on screen. So if you use this technique in order to trigger, once you've got your data on screen, whatever this might be, perhaps you're monitoring the crank position, cam position, I don't know, whatever your heart desires, it's got 8 channels, figure out what you want. Is it air? Is it fuel? Air? Compression? Timing? Spark? What's the issue, right? Monitor whatever parameters you want and see if you can capture it. And once you've got a frozen image, there's no zoom function, but you can use the time-based function in order to scale up a little bit, right? So hopefully your data is captured in this point here, and you can play with the trigger point until you hit the sweet spot. So that's the point of this video here, guys. That's why the scope was actually set up like this. So let me see if I can get the crank position on there, and maybe this will make a wee bit more sense. You can hear I've got the engine actually running. Nothing captured on screen because, again, I'm in the single shot mode, and I've got the trigger set up on the fuel pump. This time I actually have on channel 3 there, the pink channel, I'm actually tracing the crank position sensing just for the sake of demonstration. So let me go shut her down, and we'll see what we get. So there you go. There's the idea there, guys, right? So there is the drop on the fuel pump right there. And the fuel pump actually cut out when I turned the key. And you can see that as the car continues to run, spooled down, that is, you know, the engine still motors from its momentum. You can see that we do, in fact, still have crank sensing there. So you'd be barking up the wrong tree with respect to the crank. If you had multiple channels on here, I've only got 2. I tried a few tricks to actually get it to stall, guys, but this is my transport to work. I actually dragged it down with a decade bucks as far as a dare to short the crank sense, and it got really tiny, and I started to get worried, and I crapped my pants at that point and decided to abandon that plan before I damaged something. You damage the crank position sensor on this, is you have to split a gearbox to change it, or ECM. Anyway, that was getting a wee bit stupid. So there you can clearly see, again, let me make the point about there is no zoom function, but you can change the time base, and you can see here we quite clearly have a pretty healthy crank sensor. I'm glad to report it has stayed that way. Right. Anyway, I'm quite certain you guys get the point about this. Use this trigger function to your advantage. As I said, if you use the fuel pump cutout as a trigger to snapshot the rest of the screen, you can potentially capture on here on whatever channel you're actually monitoring and see if it's actually causing the actual failure. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's getting cold in here. I'll leave it at that, boys. Cheers.